sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game Time Decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen. And the answer is, it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
20-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people, the busters, and everybody else in between. The Friday Night Freak Show has begun as we break it down. New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers in to the bottom of the 10th inning right now. High drama tonight off of Broadway in the Bronx as this game is scoreless. The fireworks that were expected have not come to pass this evening, but there's been a couple of opportunities for both teams. The New York Yankees had the bases loaded a couple of innings ago, and the Dodgers somehow got out of it. Now that we're in extra innings, you start with a runner on second. Ohtani just had runners on first and second, and he grounded out to the first baseman. So the New York Yankees are right now looking for the win, and they do have a runner on third base right now. No, or at least no, they don't. My bad. He took off, but he went back, and I thought that I didn't realize that he went back. I thought, you know what? He's going to make it. He would have made it. I got it on a little corner of my eye here. I'm a little bit worried about this because, feels like this game, like something's going to happen soon. This game is like an overtime, like hockey game, right? First home run wins. Like every pitch is just sort of like, oh my God. It's funny because Twitter was blowing up earlier about how the game sucked and where all the runs and all this, but it's been great. The pitching has been awesome. Yamamoto was amazing. Poteet somehow was great. And here we are right now, scoreless in the bottom of the 10th inning. I got to tell you, there's different feeds for this. And, I was watching earlier, I had it on the Yankee feed, but I find Michael K to be super annoying. So I was like, no, there's got to be another feed out here. So I've got the Apple TV feed. I don't know who the play-by-play guy is. I think it's Dontrell Willis doing I'm pretty sure it's Dontrell Willis. But the play-by-play guy thinks every pop fly is a home run. He's like, that's it. And then it's like, dude, like, you're stressing me out, bro. Don't worry. It's not even to the warning track. Like, everything. All right, here's Volpe right now. This is dangerous. You get the feeling here that the Yankees are probably going to win this in like any minute here. I'm trying to stay positive. I've got the Dodgers in the series, so they need to win 2 or 3. I don't want to lose the first game and have to win the next 2 this weekend. But either way, I've enjoyed the baseball game. It's lived up to the hype. I mean, I'm not one of these people. It doesn't need to be 7-6 to be a good game. And in fact, the greatest baseball game ever played was a 1-0 game in the World Series. 16-4 for the Calgary Stampeders. The Hamilton Tiger Cats are terrible. Like, it's just like, God, they're bad. They had the football on the goal line. Bo Levi Mitchell, like, threw it like 10 feet over the wide receiver's head. And the Calgary Stampeders are chipping away. They just scored another touchdown. There were literally 3 Hamilton Tiger Cats. Like, look at anyone watching this right now. It's like, dude, you got 3 Tiger Cats there, and Mayer just lobs the ball in, and none of you even, like, pay attention. You're all looking at the wide receiver. I don't want to overreact after 1 or 2 nights of CFL football, but just give the East to Montreal right now. Winnipeg doesn't look like they're great. So if BC can live up to the hype, it's going to be what we predicted at BC versus Montreal. It's a cool tradition in Calgary. They actually have a horse. The horse runs around on the sidelines when they score touchdowns for real. So a hot girl on the horse there too. So there's reason to go to the football game. Still scoreless here right now. We've got our eye on this. I like the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. Remember last night we had Dave Delano on. We were only on for an hour last night, but I had Dave Delano on. And I told him on the way out, we were talking baseball, and I said, I think the Jays are a buy-in now. I thought that a couple of times this year, although I haven't bet them a ton, but I haven't given up faith on the Blue Jays, and it came into tonight, plus 400 to make the playoffs, actually, which I think is enough value to bet. So, the Dodgers just got out of it. So Dodgers get out of it. We're going to the 11th. So last night I said, I like the Jays. They were minus 134. The Blue Jays closed tonight at like minus 180. You want to talk about overnight moves, man? It was minus 134 last night. Dear man, like holy. So that game is scoreless. Listen, the Blue Jays have been up and down, more down than up. Yet it's a long season. Yet at some point it does start to count. Like every game matters. Yet in baseball, normally it's like you don't panic in the first 2 months. June starts to get real, though. Like if you're in a slump for the first 2 months, it's not the end of the world. But if you're in a slump by the end of the June, you're just gonna have a bad year. All right, like if you're a bad team, you kind of are what your record says you are, like the cliche. And speaking of bad, I just told you how bad Hamilton is. Bo Levi Mitchell just threw an interception. We're in trouble in this game. Maybe we can hit the under if. Maybe we can hit the under. 16-4, Calgary just got the ball back. Calgary in a bad mood. Everyone thinks they suck, and they're taking it out. And I'll tell you what, right now, I've seen enough of Bo Levi Mitchell to know this guy is done. Like, he's terrible. Like, bad. As I talked about, man, they're on the 3-yard line earlier. They had a wide-open wide receiver in the end zone. He threw it over his head. Here he is now. Like, I don't know who the hell he was throwing it to. It was a great pass if you were throwing it to the player in red, bro. You don't play for the Calgary Stampeders anymore. Were you confused? This went back to before he got hurt. He wasn't good. And it sort of goes back to when he was in Calgary. There's a reason why Dickinson said, you know what? We're not going to pay this guy, $800,000 a year. He's done. And he got hurt. He was done a couple of years ago, and he got hurt. Now he even looks more done. I don't know who Hamilton's backup is. And the whole thing is, they're not going to want to do it because they pay this guy all this money. I think he's still the highest paid player in the league. Anyone that follows the CFL, like, watching this guy, it's like watching a former champion boxer that's now terrible. That's what it is here right now. Freddie Freeman is up at the plate for the Dodgers, scoreless. So I like the Blue Jays. They lost the first 2 to Baltimore in a 4-game set. Baltimore, a damn good team. And then the Blue Jays got a split. All right, they won the next 2. I think it could have been the season turning point, so to speak. Right? They were kind of on the ropes. There's a lot of frustration in Toronto. Schneider could eventually get fired if things don't get better. And things are getting a little bit better right now. You win, you salvage 2 at home against Baltimore, but now you got to back it up and beat the Oakland Athletics on the road here. So we got a scoreless baseball game going on there. WNBA basketball, the Dallas Wings are up on the Sparks. This game is just started a couple of minutes ago. Dallas are laying 8.5 points. The Minnesota Lynx and the Phoenix Mercury are in action, and the Seattle Storm and the Las Vegas Aces going out of the Storm are up 10-7 early. The Aces are only laying minus 4.5 points right now. Major League Baseball. The Giants are up on the Rangers on the road. The Astros and Halos are kicking it right now. They're tied at 1. We got a full house on the program tonight. We should know, due to live coverage, there's only 120-minute full court press. Last night, it was better than last night. Last night it was 60 minutes. So tonight we're giving you 120. And we're jam-packed. Steve Merrill, Mick Ossie, Cam Stewart, and we've got Tony Finn, Big Card Julio. We're running the gauntlet tonight. We're going to hit everything. NBA, NHL, the Stanley Cup finals begin in less than 24 hours time. Hopefully it's more entertaining than Game 1 of the NBA Finals. I said last night, the only people that thought that last night was a good game and enjoyed that game were Boston Celtic fans and people that bet on Boston. And evidently there weren't that many of them, as the Game 1 of the NBA Finals last night, one of the lowest viewed finals games in recent years, going back since the COVID era when the ratings were down everywhere, which I still never understand. I never understood that, how everybody was at home, everything was shut down, yet every league had worse ratings than they normally do, except the NFL, which are just untouched. This is Sports Rage. Bring it.
Playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
3-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. You know, that you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
The drama continues in the Bronx. A scoreless baseball game is no longer scoreless. Somebody has finally broken the ice, and the ice has been broken by the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have put a 2-spot up, courtesy of a Teoscar Hernandez double. Bats in 2 runs. Dodgers dugout is like fired up right now. And I know the Dodgers dugout, these guys like barely get off their seat when someone hits a grand slam, all right? Like they're all like, college baseball World Series fired up. Anybody who's been watching this game, and I've been watching this game all night. It's one of those, like, it started off slow, and then it turned into, oh, boy, this is turning into a real, like, classic. There's been so many dramatic moments. The Dodgers finally break through and are up 2-0 right now. But let's not forget, they put a runner on second base, and the Yankees will have an opportunity to score runs as well. And a scoreless game will probably end up with some weird score tonight when it's all said and done. Let's bring in Cam Stewart right now, Steve Merrill. On the radar, we've got a CFL football game right now. And in typical CFL fashion, the field goal kicker's name is Leggio. All right, let's go, Leggio.
I like Leggio.
This guy's a kicker. Leggio. All right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
what's your name?
Seriously.
Mark Leggio.
It's like a goalie's like last name.
Yeah,
What's your name? Pat Blocker. My name,
exactly. Bill Blocker.
That's name Blocker. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, like, I don't know, like, seriously, you think about it? Like, the guy's a kicker, guys, and his last name is Leggio.
It's Leggio. I like Leggio, too.
Just imagine
Good
a coach, hey, Leggio, don't F this up. Well, get in there. Let's go.
Leggio.
He's going to F it up. I don't have faith in Leggio. He's not very good.
I'll tell you one thing. Calgary kicker Paredes is one of the best kickers for years in the CFL. That guy's money in the bank. Like, he's been doing it for a long time. But I don't know. I trust him.
Yeah,
like,
Cam, he's good, but he's good from, like, he's like Scott Norwood. He's good from, like, 45 in.
Don't want it to. He had a 52-yarder tonight, but you're right.
Yeah, I know. Just upset me. But that guy, no, he's been around a while. He's a good kicker, that guy. He's solid. He's really good. But he doesn't have, like, a booming leg.
No.
All right, so that's here's a 31-yard field goal. Let's see what he does.
I'm betting on Leggio.
Right down the middle, Leggio.
Okay, see, I told you, Leggio's a lock.
It was a 31-yarder, but I won't give him credit for it. Like,
more
19-7.
Than people anticipated, I guess, at the half. Game 26, the total went down before. What'd you get, 44.5, I think, at the start of this game here. Calgary looks good. Yeah, good game.
Because nobody expected Calgary to score 19 points in the first half. Yeah, this game's probably not staying under the number. Listen, I'm on the Hamilton Tiger Cats to win the game. I'm on the under in the game, and I've got the Ticats +8 and under 51. At this point, that's sort of what I'm trying to hang my hat on here. I think, maybe we could squeeze in here under. It's been a weird game. It's been a bad game. I'll give credit to Calgary. Listen, Mayer's made some plays with his legs. He's bought some time. The Hamilton Tiger Cats are terrible. And
they are.
You still have time, everybody, to get in on the Ottawa Red Blacks over 6.5 because they haven't played yet, but they're in the same division. And you can just tell, like, this is a bad football team. And I'm not sitting here as an overall, you've only seen them for a half, bro. Chill out. No. This is a carryover from past years. The talent is depleted. There's no more Brandon Banks returning kicks, Cam. There's no more fearful guy. And Bo Levi Mitchell should be on the TSN panel instead of on a football field. This guy's terrible. He's done. He's done, bro. He's finished.
I was going to come on the show and
whoever the backup is, they need to say, listen. The problem is they paid Bo Levi Mitchell $750,000.
It doesn't matter.
So they're going to have to bite it and say, we're playing. We got to play the backup. Otherwise, we're going to lose every week.
That's my point. I know Bo Levi Mitchell makes money. And Gabe, it's like a great career. You hate to see a champion go out like this, but that's why guys like listen, that's why guys like Barry Sanders leave early, because you want to leave with a legacy.
But you know what, Cam? In the NFL, you can at least leave a little, or you know, the only reason why he's hanging on, it's a lot of money. He knows he sucks. He's got to be embarrassed, but you're making $800,000.
You see that last hit? I'm wondering if he gets up after every hit, Gabe. We watched this league a long time. Let's call it for what it is. I agree with you on Hamilton.
Well, I don't want to say it,
but he's,
if you're the Ticats, probably actually just, I don't want to be cruel, but they're probably hoping that he does just get hurt, and the decision is made.
Yeah, yes.
All right, he got hurt. We don't have to tell him that we're benching him.
Right? We're human beings. This guy was one of the best players in the league for years. It's hard to watch him go out on the field and play like this. It's not right. He's got to go.
Time catches up to everybody except Steve Merrill.
Yeah,
looks the same. What's up, Steve? Steve Merrill knows. What's up, Steve?
And you, Gabe, you haven't aged. You haven't aged either. Time has been good to you. You look the same. I'm more beat down. I will say time has beat me up more than you guys.
I look like I'm a boxer and I've been punched in the face. Like
look at my face.
Times.
I look like a wine bottle. But anyway, crazy CFL game tonight. How you doing, Steve?
Doing well. I know it's summertime when we're talking CFL. That's all.
Right.
Well, it's week one. We're fired up. Mm-hmm. It's week one. And I got big money on the game. I went 3-0 last night, so I just assumed, I'll go 3-0 again tonight.
Great start, Gabe. Montreal in the under, buddy. A great start to the CFL season. But this league, it's like a tidal wave. You never know. But
the Los Angeles Dodgers are up 2-0 right now. And this is one of these games, Steve, in which, scoreless all night, but when it gets into extra innings, weird things can start happening. I don't know if underbettors have to be overly worried yet, but it's been a classic game, actually. It's been scoreless, but great pitching by both pitchers, and both teams had, the bases loaded, really big-time spots, with Aaron Judge up. Stanton was up with the bases loaded. Judge was up with, 2 runners on, and they kept on getting out of it. The Dodgers finally have broken through and put a 2-spot up here in the 11th inning, and they're still batting right now. We'll get Steve Merrill's thoughts on the Major League Baseball card and, of course, the NBA Finals that, quite frankly, sucks and no one really wants to talk about. The lowest rated NBA Finals Game 1 since the COVID era.
Wow.
Playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's rotational guy. Remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live, all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
20-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. That you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. So as I stated, game 1 of the Celtics-Mavericks NBA Finals averaged 10.99 million viewers. So it's not as if no one was watching. It's 11 million people. But it was the least watched opening game of the NBA Finals outside the 2 COVID seasons, 2020 and 2021, since 2007. I think partially a lot of it has to do, too. I think there's a couple of reasons, but people don't like Boston. Just point blank. Like, people don't like Boston sports teams. So, like I said last night, unless you had money on the Celtics or unless you're a Boston Celtic fan, nobody enjoyed it. Nobody's going to be happy for you if you win the championship, right? No, hey, good for Boston. No, like, no one likes you. So no one wants to watch you. And then the game was a blowout. And then you get into, I think older people are just tired of the NBA. That it's not competitive enough. There's not enough defense. They call soft fouls. Everybody shoots threes only. And I think it's caught up to the older, surly, yell at the crowd that so many of us are. Yeah.
Like,
you know what? I know.
guy?
I love the NBA. I want to love the NBA, but it's just sort of like, man, it's blah. It's a blah product in the playoffs, right? Like I said, even if you have a 7-game series, they're not close games. One team will win by 20, the other team will win by 20, the other team will win. The old zigzag, Steve. How come you're not into the NBA as much as you used to be? Because of the reasons I just said?
Well, the load management gets me also, but I do agree with the game itself. It's become very 3-point heavy. I mean, you've got more players taking threes than teams used to take an entire season, 30 years ago. So it's pretty crazy. I do think the ratings had two things. First of all, they were off for 9 days. The Celtics, Mavericks were off for 6. Even I'd forgotten about the NBA, and I was doing a daily video. I did every game of the playoffs every day on Wager Talk TV, and it felt weird to be doing no basketball for like a week. It seems strange to me as well. And then on top of that, like Cam said, I think the blowout also, those ratings probably take, into, fact that people tuned off after a 17-point lead in the first quarter. So we'll see. Can you only imagine, though, Gabe, had it been the Indiana Pacers in the finals instead?
Well, teams also, all these leagues and teams win too late, right? It's too late. Like, it's summertime now. People are out. The season is forever. The Stanley Cup playoffs have had very good ratings for their standards. They're getting like nearly 4 million people and stuff, which is a lot for hockey. So people are buzzing about the hockey because it's so competitive. But oftentimes, by the time you get into June, unless you're a fan of the teams, you don't want to watch hockey. All right. You want to be, you want to be out drinking. You want to be out. You're at a baseball game. Like, you're outdoors, man. Where these are like, it's summertime right now. I think these leagues really need to readjust their schedules. The seasons are just too long. They drag on like too much, and casual fans just get sick of it and don't care anymore. So the Yankees have put a run up here. As I stated, this thing's probably going to get weird, this game. So, Steve, what do you think of Game 2? We've only got a couple of minutes here. What do you think of Game 2 of the NBA Finals?
Well, on the surface, I really liked Boston for the series, and I had my strongest NBA play of the season at wagertalk.com last night on the Celtics. With that said, the situational setup for Dallas is very good now in Game 2. It does concern me that I think there's a fundamental mismatch as far as Dallas's strength is down low. Their interior defense got better with Gafford, P.J. Washington in February when they picked him up. Lively. They don't defend the three well. But we've also seen Boston take games off at times, and this is a classic spot where it looks like it might happen. So I think Dallas is the play in Game 2, and I find it interesting, Gabe, that the Game 1 line was 6.5, and I thought the spot was great for Boston. Now I think the spot is good for Dallas, or better for Dallas, and the line is higher. So I also think we get some line value on top of it.
Yeah, there really has been no move, and I took Dallas in Game 1, so I've almost painted myself into a corner, actually, and almost having to take Dallas again in Game 2. I thought they were going to split in Boston. The Mavericks have to be a lot better, like just, more intense. They just didn't have like a finals type of intensity, a playoff intensity last night that Boston did. I think Boston could win, but I'm going to take the points here. Steve Merrill, wagertalk.com. With us. So, Steve, on the way out here, we got about 20 seconds. Anything Major League Baseball catch your eye?
I will say this real quick. Phillies Mets play in London the next 2 days. Fade the Phillies next week. They get back off of Monday. They play at Boston Tuesday for 3 games and then at Baltimore for 3 games next Friday. Phillies are starting to cool off offensively. I think the Phillies fade begins next week when they return.
It's so stupid they're playing baseball games in London.
Ridiculous. You include the All-Star game at least, right? I mean, it's just insane.
No, but like NFL, I understand. But like people, they don't even like baseball there. Like, what's the point? I like the over 10. We're looking at dimensions.
playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with the injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
4-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. That you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. We don't want to run Merrill, but we're only on 120 minutes tonight, and we're jam-packed as far as guests are concerned. So we had a real classic baseball game tonight at Dodger Stadium. I saw people on Twitter complaining about the game earlier, and they're like, there's no runs. This isn't living up to the hype. Just because the game isn't 9-8, it doesn't mean that it's not living up to the hype. And in fact, you get at some of these games where runs are kind of meaningless. It was strange at first. There was a weird sort of aura in the stadium, and a great atmosphere at Yankee Stadium tonight. Ton of Dodger fans, Yankee fans, like Dodger fans were getting "Let's Go Dodger" chants going. The Yankee fans were like going back and drowning them out and stuff. It was the same thing last year at Dodger Stadium. I was there, and I'll give credit to Yankee fans. Yankee fans really partially took that stadium over last year. All right, it's great to have Mick Aussie back. Good to see you here, Mick. It's been a hell of a ride in Edmonton with the Edmonton Oilers making the Stanley Cup. The Edmonton Elks season kicks off tomorrow. They're bringing back all the legends: Brian Kelly, Warren Moon. They're all going to be there. All the Eskimo greats. I don't know if that means they're going to win the football game, though, to be honest. But good to see you, Mick. How you doing?
Yeah, mate, they had a big function Thursday night, and Warren Moon had a Q&A tonight as well, so all the players are back, but they might be a bit disappointed when they see only maybe 10 or 15,000 there tomorrow, but they're playing the Riders, so the Riders bring in a good crowd, so let's hopefully... They're favoured by -1. I don't know, mate. I think McLeod Bethel Thompson's just a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback, so maybe he's got his mate Gidden Jr.'s with him to throw to, so that helps.
Listen, I saw the Edmonton Elks injury report today, and it's a long one, all right? Like, there were a lot of bodies on that report. Their starters didn't play much in the preseason. I know everybody's dying for this team to be better, and I think, they have some good players here, but I think Saskatchewan are a little ahead of them right now, coming out of the preseason. And good point, Mick. Rough Rider fans travel big time. You're right. There's the attendance will. I bet you there'll be a lot. I think there'll be more than 15, Mick. But I'll say I don't know, 22 or something. But like, 12 of them will be 12,000. Like, there'll be a ton of Rider fans, I bet. You know how it works. These guys, like, it's the biggest game in BC all the time when the Riders come here. They sell like a ton of tickets for it. But anyways, Mick, Edmonton Oilers, Florida Panthers, what's your prediction?
Well, first of all, thank God they changed the game of the Elks to 2 o'clock tomorrow, because Gary Bettman would have purposely done that to try and screw us up. Look, the Panthers, it's true, mate.
I love you, man.
Say what you will about Gary Bettman. I don't think he knows when the Edmonton Elks were playing or cares.
I've proven it before. It's true. He does it to screw the CFL over.
He didn't do it to screw you before. How the hell is... Dude, they made the CFL schedule like 4 months ago. No one knew the Oilers were going to make the damn Stanley Cup Finals. What do you want them to do?
Good jokes.
Hey, even I blame Bettman for a lot of things, Cam.
Yeah.
Even this. It's like, come on. It's not Bettman's fault, all right?
Yeah, no, that's the best. That Bettman tried to screw over the
See, for Americans tuning in, that's the Canadian mentality. People are like, it's cold outside. People are like freaking Bettman messing with the weather in Canada. Like, they think Bettman, like, pulls the strings and, like, screws Canada for everything. He must love that and laugh it up.
Yeah, he must.
Anyway.
Hell, even the Prime Minister made fun of him for being short last week.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, the good thing, guys, is there'll be a lot of Oilers fans there now at 2 o'clock, because so there might be 30,000. I underestimated. The Oilers fans will be there. I'll actually forgive them for wearing an Oilers jersey at an Elks game, because I normally hate that. So people will go there, and then they'll go and watch the Oilers in the beer garden or drink or whatever. So it should be a great day. Now, the Panthers, their defense is good. I know that. They're a hard, gritty team. So let's hope that the whistles they put away the whistles. We know that. So Bettman's probably going to make a USA team win again. So let's hope they pay the frees and the penalties to the Oilers. Otherwise, the Panthers are a good, gritty team. I know that.
I agree with Mick on that one.
I know you do, Gabe. Yes, I know you do.
I agree.
It's true.
Like that's they're going to say, keep your whistle in your pocket, so Florida gets away with stuff. But it was the other way around. They'd be like, hey, listen, Edmonton are dirty. Hey, don't let them get away with stuff, huh? Make sure you call it fairly. Like, we'll see. We'll see how they call it. I got the Oilers in 6, Mick, so I'm in the minority. No one's happy with me. People in Vancouver, like, how can you pick these bastards? And hey, it's just a bet to me. I don't care if they're from Alberta or Albania.
People in Edmonton hate my guts now too, Gabe. I was just online. I just told people I was taking the Panthers. I had old friends come at me now. Now, hockey divides people. I'm betting on the Panthers, and people are turning on me in Alberta. My brother lives there. It's didn't expect it, but that's the way it goes with hockey.
So, Mick, Rough Riders Elks tomorrow. We got to be fast here, Mick. We'll get to your AFL picks. Rough Riders Elks tomorrow. I do think the Rough Riders are going to win the game. I do think Edmonton are going to be better this year, but I do think the Riders win this game tomorrow. And then you got the BC Lions and the Argonauts on Sunday. What do you think of the CFL? And then we'll get your AFL best bets.
Yeah, I think you might be right with the Riders. I hope I'm wrong, because we need those wins, mate. They're going to sell the team. We need the wins. We need the crowd. Also, I like the BC Lions to win and cover, because Chad Kelly, the dirty fella, he's not playing for a while. So I think Vernon Adams and the BC Lions will travel well over there and beat the Argos by a touchdown or more. And I hope so.
All right, AFL footy here. What do you got for us, Mick? We have the Hawks and Great Western Sydney coming up. My West Coast Eagles and the Roos. And they suddenly, West Coast are favored. The tide is starting to turn a little bit. Although I lost with them last week. Of course, I jump in. Hey, they're getting good, and then they lose. So what do you like tonight, Mick?
Yeah, I think the Giants will get it done, but Cam's Hawks are playing very well, so that one's very risky. I like the Eagles to beat the Kangaroos over there in Perth. Eagles got a couple of players out, very important, Harley Reid and Kelly. Kangaroos only play a half, then they're terrible. Suns and Saints is a very tough one as well. I took the Suns just. I like the Blues to beat the Bombers, but the Bombers to cover, and the Collingwood Magpies might beat the Melbourne Demons. But some very interesting, tough games. And I've got a moneyline multi and my best bets as well, if you want them.
Yeah, what do you think of Sydney laying 20.5 points to the Cats?
Yeah, I missed that. Sorry about that. That is one of my best bets, the Swans to cover that 20.5. Cats are missing their great players in the midfield. Dangerfield might be back. Swans are premiership favourite, mate. At Sydney, I think they'll win, and they'll probably win well.
Yeah, the Geelong Cats, we talked about them last week with your boy, a yank on footy.
Yep.
And they were 48.5 point favorites. So they ended up winning 99-69. They were down early. They come back. They end up winning by 30, but they didn't cover the number. But you think they're down, Mick? You think the Swans are going to roll them, really?
Yeah, at home in Sydney, they're very good. And Yank on the footy, he did great. He went 6-1 last week,
He's
which
good,
is
man.
unbelievable. Some of his picks are a bit rough some weeks, but he did really well. And he picked the Dockers over the Demons, and they won by 90 points. So good on him. He did well, and he went 2 and 3 of his best bets.
He did, man.
He should have got 3 and 3.
We had Hawthorne. Me and Gabe were on the air. They were up like 40, like right after he came. Like they came out of the gate and punched him in the face, Gabe. These guys are on fire right now. Like good pick. Your buddy had good picks, Mick. Congrats.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, we'll get him on in the future again. Good to have you back, Mick. Enjoy the Stanley Cup finals. 57% of Canadians are pulling for the Edmonton Oilers, and the other 43% are haters. There was a Canadian poll. The political company does all the polls there. Did a poll, 57%.
Canada won T20 World Cup, first time ever today. Awesome.
Playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
4-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. That you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency, still buzzing after that Dodgers-Yankee game. Nice to see a good old-fashioned, number one, the Dodgers-Yankees. You put them in New York, old school, Brooklyn style, just the old, rivalry. They don't play there that often. And then you got this, pitcher's duel tonight with, it was just a great game with, it felt, and even the announcer said earlier, so this feels like a World Series game or something. He goes, the atmosphere in here. And man, it was still scoreless in the 11th inning. Big drama tonight. The Dodgers win 2-1. Final score. Blue Jays and Athletics are still scoreless right now, but We're jam-packed, as you see, no small talk. We're going bang, bang, bang with our guest here. But we saved an extra segment for our man, Gamblu, because there's so much we want to get to with Lou. Lou, always a pleasure, my man. Thanks for joining us. Let's start off with the Stanley Cup finals. I'm in the minority. I like the Edmonton Oilers. Very few of our guests have. Very few in the NHL media like the Oilers. What do you think about the Stanley Cup finals?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, guys. And as far as the final is concerned, Gabriel, maybe in the circles that we run in with gamblers, that you may not be in the majority, but I think in the population overall, most people not attached to hockey would love to see Canada win a cup. I think the casual fan would love to see that. I know for me, how good it would be for hockey is what I'm after because I'm passionate.
Because you're a kind man, Lou. It's like Michael Wilbon on ESPN. He's been pulling for a Canadian team the entire time. People in Canada are hateful, Lou. All right? Like, it's like a political rally here. They're like, screw them. I'm not from there. I hate them. I'm telling you, that's the way it is here.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I can't speak for north of the border. I can just speak for what I feel, and I sense a lot of people want the Canada team. I know, like I say, I do. But now you're asking me how I feel about the series, and I'm eyebrow deep in Florida futures. I think Florida 5-on-5 is the deeper team, the heavier team. They're the team that was there last year, got close and tasted frustration. That's huge in my handicapping. I do believe that Florida should be a favorite in this cup, and I think that it's the populace, the common maybe $10 better that's keeping this line as close as it is. That's just my opinion. I think that this will be a great series, but I think that the forecheck of Florida is going to pound on the blue line of Edmonton and will get to Skinner. I think eventually Skinner will end up losing some of his insulation and therefore some of his momentum. I'm going to call Florida in 7 because I'm selfish. I want 7 games, but I have to stay with Florida. I would say this. If you're an Edmonton fan and you're looking for ways to bet Edmonton, you can see that the series you're getting plus 110, 115. Why do that? Well, why not just run to the Conn Smythe, bet Connor McDavid at plus 190, and you, in essence, have Edmonton. That's the best advice I could give.
Good advice.
No, I do agree. I like it. I did a video which I gave Connor McDavid as the Conn Smythe because I do think Edmonton is going to win. Dear God, Hamilton, you miss a field goal. Now you're going to let the guy, he's really going to return this? No, he returned it all the way to the 20.
Is that our boy Leggio? Yeah, Leggio. Bad leg.
I don't mind they lose the game. I know they're going to lose at this point, but they're going to kill.
You're right, Gabe. I'm just my guy was looking back all the way. What a disaster
they're going to kill.
The Ticats are. They're brutal.
Yeah, they're just going to kill the total by being as terrible as they are. But so NHL.com, their staff, people that cover the NHL, NHL.com, 16 of them, 10 of them are on Florida. 10 of the 16. Like I said, most people in the hockey world, hockey media, are picking the Florida Panthers here. But a lot of people, those same people, were locked in on the Panthers like you were, Lou, right? They believed in them. They thought they were going to get back, and, they think that they're about to finish off the job right now. What do you think about game 1 of this series? How do you think game 1 is going to play out? The total is 5.5. The Panthers are minus 140. The Oilers are plus 120. What's your vibe about game 1? How do you think it's going to play out? Higher scoring, lower scoring?
I think there'll be goals, not in the series, but in this first game, simply because each goaltender's had some time off, and that's the first thing that would go. So if there's a loose game, I see it being the first game. Just like every other game this playoff series, Florida opens minus 130. They're now up to 142. Edmonton opens plus 110. They're up to plus 120. If you wait till puck drop tomorrow, you're probably getting more than the $120 on Edmonton. I've been on the road team all along. I am able to separate game by game to my series. I have Florida futures, but that's over here now. Game one, I'm all about the advantage, and the financial advantage lies with the road team, 20-15 since round one. And it lies with me taking plus 120 or better when it opened plus 110.
This is one of the reasons why, guys, I like the Oilers in this series. I like the fact that the Panthers are the ones with the so-called home ice advantage. The Oilers are 6-2 in their last 8 road games. They're a very good road team. They're the classic get caught up in the hype at home ice, Cam. Like they do. They play the Metallica. It's a big orange. It's really cool. It's like a metal show. But Edmonton, they get cute at home at times. On the road, they play angry. They're all business. I think they're going to split, Lou, in Florida. Right? So I'm going to jump in on the Oilers in game one. Hope for the best. If they lose, I'll go back to them again in game two. But I do believe that the Oilers are going to win. I know everybody is the Florida. They're gonna forecheck them. They're gonna do this and that. I don't think enough people are talking about. All right, how are the Panthers going to deal with some of the Oiler players that they have? And the Oilers' speed, the pace that they play with, is going to force Florida into taking penalties. I think. I don't think they're going to skate past them, but if the refs call penalties, it's going to be advantage Edmonton.
Playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live, all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
3-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. That you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. 22-7 in this football game. It's all over but the crying for the Hamilton Tiger Cats tonight.
Don't bring kids to sporting events. Like, the kid's like 2 years old with earmuffs on going absolutely wild. Like, why are you bringing your kid to a football game and thinking the earmuffs are going to help? The kid's having a nervous breakdown at a Stampeder game, and he's on the Stampeders.
He's trying to bring him up to be a Stamps fan.
That's
a good start. They're winning.
Yeah, it's like children in like restaurants who are babies. Like, do me a favor and just stay at home.
At least he's got earphones on, the kid.
They look pretty weak. Cheap model, because that kid was in big trouble. He was crying hard. But anyway, let's continue there. The hockey chat.
All right, so Lou kicking it with us. We'll get back to the hockey later. So, Lou, your prediction, Florida Panthers, you believe in how many games?
7 games. It's going to go 7. Hockey fans are going to get their fill. We get a 7th game, and whoever wins will be the better team, and it'll be a great series.
And here are the total game prices. I don't disagree with taking, whoever you like to win the series in 6 or 7, and/or, you just attack it and go, all right, I'm going to take this to go 7 games. You're getting nearly plus 200 alone right there. So we'll get back to the hockey. The College Baseball World Series continues, the road to Omaha. I jumped in today, Lou, and I was lucky to I guess I wasn't lucky to win because they were up. I took West Virginia. I take a page out of your book when it comes to college baseball, and I don't know if you do the same with college baseball, but I know you like to bet a lot on underdogs. If I'm getting 2.5 runs, bro, at minus 110, I'm going to bite. And I thought West Virginia, I didn't realize, I was very impressed with them last week. North Carolina's games are always super close. They always come back in the 9th inning. And I thought, you know what? I'm getting 2.5 here. And they were up 4-1, and then boom, West Virginia came back and took the lead, and then pop, walk-off home run, 3-run shot for the Tar Heels. But we covered a 2.5. Who are you keeping your eye on this weekend, Lou? I should say tomorrow in these series. What do you like?
Yeah, it's all about tomorrow for me. Today, actually, Gabriel, I had a round robin on all the chalk and hit it all. And it's one of those, should have bet more. Had it 2s, 3s, and 4s. And the reason I did was because I think tomorrow are the teams that are the underdog, live underdogs. North Carolina, in their super regional, they're playing Georgia. In 2021, North Carolina State came to Omaha in 2021. They were on their way to the final series. They got COVID, and they shut them down and made them go home. North Carolina State was absolutely jobbed in Omaha out of a championship, and I felt for those kids. Same coach, a couple of the same players may still be around. They went to the regionals the following year, missed it last year. The gods of baseball owe North Carolina State. And I think they're here on a focused mission. I like them against Georgia. I took them in the series as a small underdog. They're playing, they're playing Georgia, right?
Yeah, Georgia,
yeah. They're taking Georgia. Okay, then the next one, SEC against ACC. Florida went all the way to the championship series in Omaha last year, one of 3 teams that's still alive that was in Omaha. They're senior-laden, they're older team. They played terrible baseball all year, and they're playing great baseball now. They are an underdog in their series against Clemson, ACC, SEC. You bet. Give me Florida in that one. And then finally, Oregon State, packed, playing Kentucky. Kentucky's the only SEC team never to have been to Omaha. So they're going to try hard, and that's all well and good. Oregon State's won the title 3 times. They've been there recently. They got a great program, and they're getting completely overlooked. And this one, Oregon State, another small underdog, probably getting plus 125 or 130 for the series. Now, these are all super regional series bets, and I'm taking all 3 of those dogs.
Yeah, best of 2 or 3 at this format of the tournament. Good call, Lou. It's interesting with Florida, too. I've been following them. Like you said, this year their pitching staff got rocked. They were never really on track, but they beat up, they played those games against Nebraska, and now they're suddenly getting hot at the right time. I really wouldn't want to lay 80 cents with Clemson here. Everybody, I know you, Texas A&M are one of the teams you like coming into this. Brent Beard was with us. He said, keep your eye on the Aggies. They're minus 340. But I got to tell you, Cam, you're getting the Oregon Ducks tomorrow. Plus 250, which means on the run line, I'm getting plus 2.5 for sure. I might get a plus 3.5 tomorrow.
Beavers and Ducks, baby. Let's go. Wildlife.
Yeah, A&M are minus 340 favorites tomorrow.
playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live, all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
3-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. That you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. So, college baseball tomorrow. Georgia. These are the money lines for the games, not the series. But Georgia minus 150 against NC State. Clemson minus 180 against the Florida Gators, which that line seems a little off and high. Texas A&M were one of the pre-tournament favorites. They're minus 340. The Ducks are plus 250. And the Kentucky Wildcats are minus 130 against the Beavers. And the Beavers could be a live dog here, actually, in this series and tomorrow at plus 100. So we're jam-packed tonight. We've only got 120 minutes. Let's roll on to some mixed martial arts right now. They're going to Louisville, Kentucky, and something tells me the cops probably won't try to handle a UFC fighter the way they did Scotty Scheffler. I got to tell you, though, if I'm the UFC and, like, the guy used to be Mert, they used to do it, like whoever is the guy, Lou, that handles the, the guy that handles the fighters, I tell him, listen, these cops like roughed up a golfer 2 weeks ago. Okay. So like, just don't be careful, right? Because, you guys can be walking around with tattoos and entourages in Louisville. Little run-in with the PD could escalate fast. You know what I'm saying?
Quickly, before we get to it, I just want to tell you a story. So Scotty Scheffler at a press conference, he said Louisville 5 times just to piss him off because it's Louisville or you know what I mean? And things like it just absolutely went wild. I was howling today because everyone knows Louisville. He's like Louisville, just pissing off everybody. Yeah, so even Scheffler's taking shots, and that tells you he's an innocent man, Morency. He didn't deserve that. He got roughed up. You're right. Good call by you.
So what should we be looking at here, Lou, on this card?
I think there's this favorite run just keeps marching. 10-2 last week. Favorites are just over 67%. That's almost 5% higher than what they traditionally run in the UFC. When's regression coming? I don't know. But I know this, I'm not afraid to stick my toe out a little bit and roll up the sand because I do think there's a couple of underdogs on this card. One in the late prelims, you got this guy, Dustin Stoltzfus, who's a pretty good wrestler. He's made some bad decisions in his previous career, losing fights by not using his brain. If he just stick to his wrestling, the guy has a decent chin. He's got good gas. He can fight. He's fighting this absolute maniac striker from Brazil named Ferreira. and this Ferreira has some BJJ chops, but he doesn't use them. Instead, preferring to just go right at his opponents and club them unconscious. He hardly gets out of the first round. He either knocks his opponents cold as a mackerel, or he runs out of gas, and in the early second or late first, he gets submitted or knocked out himself. If Stoltzfus can keep this thing, if he could be Forrest Gump and run in circles for a round, take this to the second round and win this fight, and he's plus 2.25.
Forrest Gump.
This guy's the cold as a
all kidding aside, I was actually
best.
at the fight sitting cage side that night, Lou, many, many years ago when Caleb Starnes. It was the time, it was the only time like a UFC fighter would ever got in a cage and something happened. He was like, I don't want to do this. He ran backwards, like he started backpedaling. And it was like, okay, he's just sort of setting his feet. It was like, no, he's having a breakdown. He's having a breakdown. And he backpedaled again. And I was sitting with Heath Herring live. We were sitting in the front row. And Heath told me, this guy's having a nervous breakdown live in the cage. He's snapping. As it happened. Yeah, and so he was like backing up. I think it was Nate Quarry. And I said, and he told me, he goes, but this is dangerous for Nate Quarry because he's going to walk into something maybe, right? You know what I mean, Lou? But he's walking back, and Nate got mad and just sort of started charging him, knocked him out, and they kicked Starnes out of the company after. They ripped him. Oh, he's an embarrassment. We don't pay people to run. So I'm just all kidding aside with the Forrest Gump. I just sort of thought of that. But he started fighting again after, so he just sort of retribution. What about the kid here, Lou, with Rojas here, minus 225? You think this kid wins?
Yeah, he's fighting a guy that's like a drop of olive oil on a hot skillet. He's all over the place. He's bouncing around. The guy's
olive oil on a hot skillet. Wow.
That's hot. That's real hot.
It's hot. It's hot. And this Ricky Turcios, he doesn't have really power. He can put volume together. But this Rosas kid's only 19, 20. He's big. He's strong. He's got good wrestling chops. He spent some time here in Phoenix at the MMA lab, and he's strong and he's diligent. He can strike. And this is a Rojas decision here over Ricky Turcios. I don't think he finishes him. Should be a competitive fight. Turcios is older, been talking a little poop at him and, trying to get under his skin. And I think it's only pissed the kid off. And I like Rosas in a decision here.
It's interesting. It's, last week we talked and it was like, all right, it's chalky, but the favorites are going to win type of card. Looking at this card, though, guys, most of it, they're not minus 400s and 500s, exactly. Lou. Like, there's a lot of just sort of minus 200s, 225s and stuff like that. I'm intrigued by this. Like the co-main event and the main event. Well, the main event's not nearly a pick 'em. What about those fights, Lou?
Main event, Cannonier fights out of the MMA lab down here. And here's a guy fought at heavyweight, light heavyweight. Now he fights at middleweight. He's beat all the elite level middleweights in the division, except for Adesanya in his title attempt, and he was hurt. He got hurt in that fight. He just got done beating the brakes out of hothead Marvin Vettori, and Vettori, he's a hothead, but he's strong and he's hard to beat, and Cannonier dominated him. Now, in that fight, he twanged his MCL, had some surgery on it, has been laid off for 18 months, but there is nothing better for a 40-year-old fighter than to be off 18 months, get rest, get himself refocused. He knows this is his last run at the title. They're giving him this guy, Imavov, who in his last foray into the top 5 fought Strickland and was dominated. In his last fight, he beat a guy named Dolidze, who is a bricklayer. And Dolidze ran out of gas in the first round, and he was completely gassed. Imavov couldn't finish him, run out of gas a little bit himself. And while Imavov thinks he's ready for this step up, I don't think he is. These guys open pick. You can get Cannonier as a slight underdog. No. He's live.
I love Cannonier.
I see.
He's one of my favorites.
Plus 100. Plus 100 right now. Dominic Reyes is plus 187, and Dustin Jacoby right now, another minus 225 favorite on this card. Lou, we got about a minute and a half left with you, I think, here.
Yeah, I like Reyes a lot in this fight. What he needs to do is also get to the second round, not because the other guy's full of gas. The other guy's a good, strong, formidable fighter. But what Reyes gets if he makes the second round is tremendous confidence, and he reinstills in himself that he is legit and he is here because he's bigger, longer, faster, and more athletic than his opponent, and Reyes is a live underdog.
Lou, Gamblu.com. Great stuff. Lou, where can people find you online?
Yeah, go Gamblu.com. That's my webpage. You'll get everything there, daily blogs, positions, advice you don't need, and anything else you're looking for.
Yeah.
Advice you
Olive
don't
oil
need.
in a hot skillet.com with Lou. Amazing. This guy's the best, Gabe. I love Lou.
And we got a big horse race tomorrow.
Yeah,
All
we
my
do.
My horse buddies are all telling me just jump on the chalk, this Sierra Leone or whoever that is, and it's a Chad Brown horse. I get it. So what I did, I took the first leg of the daily double. There was a horse race run today, and the 9 was a chalk. I took him to the Sierra Leone. Now I have a little something to watch in the double for this horse race tomorrow.
Watch out, Gabe. Watch out for the 10 though. Very dangerous horse, and 1 Seize the Gray. Those are other horses I think could be a factor in this race. We'll see what happens. He's a nice underdog.
That
We
10
talked
horse
horse
stepping
racing.
way up in class.
We had Caitlin Free on last night, who absolutely kills it. Great handicap. We'll get into the ponies a little bit more later on. Thank you, Lou.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me. Good luck, everybody.
Playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
20-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. You know, that you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
Belmont Stakes tomorrow, as Lou and Cam alluded to. Of course, last night we had Caitlin Free on the show, and she does a great job breaking it down. And I asked her, how do you think, and you remember she nailed the Kentucky Derby trifecta, but basically how it was going to happen. And it's interesting. The real speed horses here, see, it's funny. The horses that won the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, they're not favorites, right? So it goes to show the uniqueness of this. because people think, wow, these horses are going to be tired. They're going to be worn out. You've got some fresh horses coming in here, like Mystic Dan. Mystic Dan is the one that I think is a bigger fade than Seize the Gray. I think Mystic Dan is kind of going in the wrong direction right now. Don't forget, 2 of the 3 races that this horse has won has been on like muddy, wet tracks. It's not going to be a muddy, wet track tomorrow. And of course, it's not a 1.5 miles tomorrow either. It's 1.25 miles as it is at the Kentucky Derby, which changes things a bit. But Caitlin said she expects Seize the Gray and Doorknock to both be the speed, to basically set the pace here. Sierra Leone, you could argue, is the best horse in the race. But Cam, I'm looking at the middle of the board here, and Caitlin agreed, actually, which I was a fan of, in which I was like, come on, we're getting 12-1 with Honor Marie. And she said, that's the horse I like, Honor Marie. And this Resilience horse as well. What's the updated number on Resilience right now? Isn't it? Yeah, 10-1, 11-1, 12-1 on Resilience. A Bill Mott horse, Junior Alvarado on the mount. Another horse. And both these horses, sort of stalkers, bro. They're going to let everyone else sort of take off, and then they're going to be right there, and then boom, try to close. I'd rather take my shot with that at 10-12-1 than a Sierra Leone, bro, at a 5-2, bro.
Great call, Gabe. And I'm going to tell you something. I didn't realize this earlier when we didn't break it down because I was thinking about the 10, and now I'm thinking about this. Resilience, the 2-horse with Mott and Alvarado, that's the combination. I remember when I started betting horse racing, always a great underdog. At Aqueduct in Saratoga, I played a lot of New York tracks, and there's something about Junior Alvarado. And also, you know what his strength is, Gabe? It's usually turf, but it's also riding closers. And if Caitlin, if she told you that this horse could come out of the sky, that's Junior's game, is to hang in there. Hopefully he doesn't get bumped in too far back, and down the stretch, make a huge move. The connections of Mott and Alvarado, in my opinion, are underrated, and that number is very high. You've sold me. And now that I'm looking at this, I have to put Resilience somewhere. That's a dangerous horse with great connections at an incredible price.
Yeah, and Mind Frame is being overvalued. It's 7-2. It's a step up in class. Like, it's just sort of like, I don't know. I think it's sort of a hipster horse, the data horse, the stat guys, the buyer index, and all that type of stuff. And Honor Marie as well. I believe it was Honor Marie. She was talking about getting a bit on the mouth. I think I'm pretty sure it was Honor Marie. So I guess, Cam, the horse was so jumpy and moving around its head during the race, it slows it down. Like, sort of like sticking your head out the car out of the window. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, no. We need you to keep focused and keep your head straight. We all know, like, that's why they put blinkers on, right?
Yeah.
Some horses will get distracted by other horses or stuff around them, and they're whatever. They're like people almost. They're looking around. Hey, look at that color. Look at that, like, girl. Look at that horse. Right? They notice things. So you get the blinkers on. They don't get distracted by anything. But now they're raising it up a notch where it's like a mouth guard almost, a piece. And it controls the horse's head from, like, veering more. And she was talking about how the horse is going to have even more speed now because they're going to have more control over it. Can't wait to see how this plays out. But I'm looking at, listen, I'm not dismissing Sierra Leone, guys. But if I'm going to play a trifecta, I'm looking at, like, Sierra Leone, Honor Marie, and Resilience, like, boxed type of deal. Let's bring in Big Card Julio right now. Hold on, 29-14. Let's let Leggio miss another kick.
I got to tell you quickly, though, think about how smart that is, because Resilience is 11-1, Sierra Leone is the chalk at 2-1, and the horse that you like, Honor Marie, is 11-1. In a box, if those pooches come in, you'll blow up the tote board, because these are big, big dogs in this race. You know what? You sold me. I think I'm good, and that's good information about the mouth guard. I'm actually kind of changing my opinion in this race now. I like those picks a lot.
And I don't want to pull the carpet out, Cam. I'm going to pull the Bob McKenzie. Canada, Team Canada will win, but if Russia plays well. But I was going to say, I don't know, or maybe Seize the Gray just takes off and, like, doesn't give up the lead. Like, it's a fast horse. But that's the whole thing. It's tired. It's, and it's going to try to do that. It can't help itself. They know. Same with Doorknock. It's going to be like, it's all or nothing with these horses. They're going to go all in and see what happens. So I always tell myself I'm not going to go crazy. And then I end up betting like $500 on the race, like right before. I'm like, oh, I better get on. Bang, 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 bang.
I can't
So
stop.
no, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to put my bets in early, and I'm not going to look. I'm not doing it. I'm going to bet like no more than $100 on this race. Bring in Julio. What's up, Julio?
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, Gabe, because I was it was Monday, Scotland against Gibraltar. It was like a training match. So I just kept betting the under, and before I realized I had my whole account on unders in Gibraltar, Scotland. Thankfully, it turned out well, but it was one of those days.
Good for the Scots.
You know what? So, horse racing is so random. It's basically like picking a lock. Like, you look, you're like, oh, yeah, the 2-horse, the 4-horse looks great. This horse looks great. It's like, dude, there's 10 horses. You know how many different combinations there are for the trifecta? And it's a damn horse race. So all of our handicapping really means nothing in the end. Like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We try to put yourself in the best position. But I don't go crazy and bet too much on one horse. But I will try to roll the dice on a trifecta or two. Julio, you got to play the Belmont Stakes tomorrow.
I've been taking notes on all your guests along with Cam's take, so I'll put some sprinkles on the Belmont.
So, in other words, you know nothing about it, you're saying. That's what you're cutting to the chase. Just say, no, I don't know anything about it.
I will say this, though. This is a race that's so damn wide open, I would not be shocked. Like, there's so many horses that can win this race.
29-27 for the Calgary Stampeders.
Playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
3-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. You know, that you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
I don't often play baseball regular season to win the series bets. I used to do it more, but I really haven't done it. I haven't done it much over the last couple of years, every now and then. And I think, quite frankly, is because just where they put it, actually. It's not on the main page. It's on the futures page. And if they actually just sort of put it in people's faces more, I think people would bet it more. But I figured, you know what, Dodgers, Yankees, I'm going to bet the Dodgers, but I'm getting the Dodgers to win the series. It's a 3-game series, so winner 2 of 3, you win the bet, minus 120. So I pulled the trigger on the Dodgers, and then I was like, well, I like the Blue Jays to get hot and go on a run here, and let me parlay this. So I played the Dodgers separately, and then I did another one with the Dodgers to win the series and the Blue Jays to win the series, and then I just bet the Blue Jays again, actually, which I kind of regret right now. It's 1-1.
I do too.
Yeah, I don't know. I realized after, I'm like, well, the Dodgers won. You know what it was, though, Cam?
Yeah.
I didn't know if the Dodgers were going to win. They were in extra innings, and it was scoreless. And I was like, damn, if the Dodgers lose, it blows my Blue Jays, action up. So, all right, I'll just bet on the Blue Jays now. But then the Dodgers won. So now I'm just realizing I got double on the Blue Jays. Bassett's pitching well, bro. He just got out of it. 1-1, end of 7 right now. We're going to the top of the 8th inning. Another stressful game, just like this Yankees and Dodgers game was.
It has to be that way, Gabe. And I'll tell you something. I noticed something from Bassett tonight. He almost had an early meltdown because you know what he does. He gets absolutely insane when things like whatever. And he calmed down. Him and Kirk got a little bit of talk and, got out of the inning with a double play ball. Everything's cool, Bassett. That's the whole thing. If he keeps his cool, now it's time for the bats. That's the whole deal. The Blue Jays have 1 run against Oakland. Figure it out. Let's win this game, Gabe, and I like your series bet. Now that you got one with the Dodgers, the Blue Jays win tonight, you're sitting in a pretty nice position.
Toronto Blue Jays are a buy-on team. I even think the plus 400 to make the playoffs is a good bet. That's what it was coming into tonight, Julio. Everybody gave up on the Blue Jays. People will trade this and fire it. And it's like, dude, it's May, right? You got to chill out and let it play out. Now Guerrero's hitting 374 over the last month. He's playing great defense. Now they just need to get Bichette going. This is another big game for them, guys. It doesn't matter if they score 11 runs or 2 runs here. If they can win, they need to win, though. You need to, make up ground and beat teams like Oakland. This is a spot to do it. 1-1. Let's get a run here in the 8th. Julio, what are your best bets for us over the weekend?
Let's go to a Major League Baseball. We'll do under 8.5 Dodgers and Yankees. And I'm staring at, hey, if the well isn't broken, keep going to it. Oakland, Toronto, under 8. I'm seeing it some spots on the overnight line. I have the under right now in this game. 3 in a row at the Coliseum as well for the A's. College baseball, Oregon State, the one of 2 West Coast teams remaining in the tournament. They're in Lexington. I like them tomorrow, even money against Kentucky. And to win the series, Gabe, plus 110. And Oregon, plus 310 to beat Texas A&M to win the series. Let's do soccer futures. We got Copa America, some beautiful soccer coming to the States in a couple of weeks. Look, Canada, they didn't look good against the Dutch, but I think with their group, I think they qualify. Plus 250, yes, Canada qualifies out of their group. Homer pick for me, but Venezuela have been strong in World Cup qualifying in South America. I like their group as well. Venezuela plus 162 to qualify out of their group. We'll go to Europe 2024, possibly the World Cup. Portugal 8-1 or 7-1, depending on where you shop, to win the Euros. The Dutch, the Netherlands, plus 137 to reach the quarterfinals. Scotland to not qualify from their group, even money. And England, a lot of turmoil with the English national team. I don't think they qualify. 12-1. The English,
oh my
they don't
God.
qualify.
Whoa, what is going on here? I love this guy.
Wow. First off, too, my head's still spinning, and everyone knows I love Canada soccer. Canada soccer's not qualifying. I'll tell you right now. Canada soccer might not score a goal. I'm not being, no, you know what? I don't want to be a jerk, but I'm just saying, Julio, I want to get to this. Look, guys, dude, this Copa stuff, it's a different level, man. Like Canada and the U.S., like we're used to playing El Salvador, man, and Panama and stuff. Dude, Mexico played you saw the other night, Julio. I lost my under bet in the first half. Mexico and Uruguay. Uruguay were up 3-0 at the half. Canada played Holland in a friendly. It was 4-0.
Nothing.
Like, we're not on the level of this stuff. And I think it's going to show in the Copa. Hang in here. We'll get Julio in a minute. We'll get a couple more soccer picks. Canada's not qualified. I don't know about Venezuela either.
playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live, all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
3-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. That you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. I'm still getting over Julio's England not to qualify.
12-1.
Just for the record, England are in a group with Denmark, Serbia, and Slovenia. So it would be a massive, shock if they didn't. I don't think England are going to win, though. England are the favorites to actually win the tournament. And England are always favorites to win all the time, and they never do. And one of the reasons, people in England bet a lot. They sort of set the market. A lot of sports books are British. A lot of odds makers are in Ireland or whatever. They're all in that sort of bubble of England. I mean, England's soccer games are more bet on than any other. Like, it's not even close. So it's almost skewed, you know what I mean? Because all the action comes in on them. But I don't think Serbia, Serbia maybe, somehow massive upset. Denmark are okay. This tournament is going to be lit. There's some tough-ass groups here. But that was the problem with the Copa, too, for Canada. Canada have a new manager, too. They're just putting it together. They're just not ready for this Copa, in my opinion. We'll see, too. They play France on Sunday, so let's see if they can do better than 4-0 than they did against Holland, even though those games don't count. So what else do you got for us, Julio, before we get you out of here?
USA against Colombia. Give me the under team total. Team USA under a half a goal at plus 200. This game's going to be at Kyle Field, College Station, Texas. Maybe over 60, 70, 80,000 fans to see Mexico take on Brazil. Over 2.5 goals, minus 125. We'll go European friendlies, Estonia and the Faroe
People in
Islands.
College Station, they're going to be calling the cops. There's 30,000 Mexicans walking down the street. Like, they're going to be freaking out, man. Of all places to make these two teams go. Like, seriously, Brazil and Mexico? Like, yeah, you guys are going to Texas A&M with the cadets. The cops are going to show up and stuff. Like, try to arrest them. Like, what do they send them there for? Like, seriously.
It doesn't make any sense, honestly. I don't get it. Cameroon in the African World Cup qualifiers, minus 150.
Where they send Cameroon? Idaho?
Yeah, that's right. Cameroon.
Laramie, Wyoming.
And Laramie.
What? Are you kidding me?
No, yeah, I'm kidding. This is an
okay, I was going to say, no, they're not in Wyoming.
We're definitely kidding. That wouldn't happen in a million years. No, it's 100 to 1.
Lastly, a 3-team money line parlay: the Czech Republic, the Netherlands, and France plus 113.
Oh, this guy, Gabe. You think you got a card? Holy big card, Julio. It's not. It doesn't even do it justice. I don't know what the hell. We need something bigger. It's like
I'm sure he has more.
Beats betting on baseball.
He does have more.
I've been looking at the Olympic boards. I'm trying to get my Olympic qualifying put together, or my Olympic handicapping, the field hockey, the track and field, basketball. I'm really intrigued by basketball. The greatest Canadian team ever, possibly. France is going to be good.
Julio?
Serbia, Team USA fading them against the spread. I mean, it's going to be an amazing tournament.
You know who's alive? Speaking of Canada, you know what a live dog is I was tweeting about it earlier in the week when Cameron Brink and Haley Van Lith were named to the U.S. team. They're the favorites. They're like plus 200-ish, plus 180, whatever, USA. Canada is the second choice at like plus 250. And the Canada 3-on-3 women's basketball team, they're like the two-time defending champions of the world, like world champions. It's one of those deals. I talked about it earlier. They got two girls that are sisters. All they do is play 3-on-3 ball, man. This is what they do. And they're an older team, but they're really focused on it, and they're really good. And that U.S. team, Julio, is freaking young, bro. I know they've got the Rin girl is on it. She's a little older, but Haley Van Lith, you saw, like she's like 19. Like Cameron Brink is a rookie in the WNBA. You're sending them to Paris, and you're going to be playing against women from Canada. I think Canada are going to win gold, guys, in the women's 3-on-3. That's my pick. They're not qualifying, though, in the Copa. I hope they do. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Julio's right. I hope
right too. The best England not to qualify game. If that bet hits, we got to give Julio, we got to buy him something. That's the boldest of the bold.
Well, people think England are going to win, Cam. That's the whole thing. They're
not winning.
And then, not just like they're the hipster favorite. If you read a lot of people are like, England are the team to beat.
Sure
I'm like, they're never the team to beat. Like they're not. I don't want to use the Cowboys and the Leafs and stuff, but that's who they are.
Exactly.
England are like the popular team. Everybody likes them. They're always going to win. They never do. And similar to the Leafs haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. England hasn't won a World Cup since 1966.
There you go. So stop.
You want similarities?
The Leafs, England, leave us alone.
Yeah, the coach of the Oilers should have said, "Ask England about experience."
Yes,
it doesn't help them in the World Cup.
Thank you. That's the analogy.
Says, ask England. No, then he would have got shot. He would have pissed off. Like they would have been like,
Good
"What?
Point. Some angry
the hell did
Brit.
this guy say?" Yeah. Imagine if he said, "Hey, ask Brazil about choking in big soccer games," and I he'd get clipped in Miami.
He's missing. Damn right. He gone. Yeah, that's not cool.
So what's your Stanley Cup pick, Julio?
What do you got, Julio?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this all day. There's going to be so much pressure when Edmonton play at home. I mean, any bad shift, if Florida scores first. So if the Oilers are going to win the Cup, they've got to win in South Beach, right? So give me the Oilers to lift the Coupe de Stanley. I think Edmonton break the Canadian curse.
Just feels like it's going to happen. I know everyone's bought in on Florida. I think people are underestimating the Edmonton Oilers, but I really do think that this curse is coming to an end. And then after, there'll be another Canadian team that'll win. It'll crack the ice like a golf major game.
Yep, like Scotty Scheffler.
Next year the Canucks will win.
Or somebody. Just not the Leafs, Gabe. I almost feel guilty
it won't
for
be
betting
the Leafs. No.
Leafs.
What about
we should do a 20-year bet, Gabe, like the Leafs in England. See who gets one first. I'll take the Leafs.
Not
over
the
England.
not the Ottawa Senators either, Julio. It's not
yeah, it's not happening.
It'll never happen for them. Well, we'll buy in, and the Senators are like the Chargers. This is the year. You know what I mean? It's like, no, it's not.
It's never.
But all kidding aside, you want to bet on a team from Ottawa, Julio? There's still time to get in because they don't play this week. The Ottawa Red Blacks are the only team that's not playing in the CFL this week. Their win total is 6.5. I already liked it. I already bet it. I like it even more after watching this pile of crap from the Hamilton Tiger Cats tonight and being in the same division. I like this bet a lot. I'm even going to bet on it again. I like the Red Blacks over 6.5 wins this year in the CFL.
I like it.
And we won't have to wait.
Football's back.
We won't have to wait like that long either. If it wins, they'll pay you. So I don't have to wait till November or something. I'm hoping they start
I need this damn football game to end. End it. No more points.
It's already gone over the number.
No, but I'm talking about the teaser. I got Calgary because they were +1, but I got Calgary +8 and under 51.5. So if Hamilton scores, I'm done.
Well, right now we're at 49 points with 125 left. 32-17. Everybody, I didn't pick on Calgary. I bet against them tonight, and that's my bad. But everybody's like, oh, they're going to be the worst team in the league. They're not going to win any games and blah, blah, blah. And whatever, dude. They won 6 games last year, and they sucked. So their win total was 6.5. It wasn't a big reach for them to win 7 games, right? It's like, they were really bad last year. And in fact, they couldn't really be any worse, to be honest. You got a big play here. Hamilton might have caught the ball. I don't think he did. It's under review.
The ball's juggled and it hit the guy didn't even have control at all. That's incomplete.
I don't think that's a catch. I don't know why they're reviewing it so much.
Yeah,
but
I don't even.
We'll see what the head office says. That's not a catch. Julio, good stuff tonight.
Later, Julio. Appreciate it, guys.
We'll hit the Copa next week.
Good one, buddy.
Playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
3-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rhodes.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. You know, that you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
Well, there's an unusual sight tonight in Oakland. There's actually some people in the stands. It's not as if, though, there's not more empty seats, but there are some, there's a lot of Blue Jay fans. Blue Jay fans are everywhere. They really are. Like, same with the Raptors. These Canadian teams, they travel well. They have fans everywhere, and there's Canadians living everywhere. Blue Jays don't get out to California that often. You see when they play in Seattle, man, dude, when they play in Seattle, they sell Blue Jays gear. It upset the Seattle Mariners last year. And I was wondering about that tonight, how Yankee fans, I'll ask Kurtz about this on Monday, how Yankee fans felt about the Yankees selling Dodger gear and Ohtani jerseys at Yankee Stadium. I was a little surprised by that the Yankees would do that. They're so proud. They'd be like, no, we're not doing that. But as I stated, growing up as a kid, they used to sell merchandise of other teams at the concession stands at the stadium. I remember it used to be the best part. I'd go, and they'd always have the batting helmet of the visiting team for sale. And it was only $5. I'd try to collect as many as I could, but there was no interleague play when I was a kid. It was all National League. So I really only had, it was rare that they had American League teams. So scoreless in San Diego right now, Arizona and San Diego. The Arizona are scoreless. San Diego's up 5-0. The in-game total is 6.5 right now. Astros are up on the Halo 7-1. I have no action on those games, Cam, but I do have the Toronto Blue Jays 1-1 in this baseball game. We're going to the bottom of the ninth inning right now. Stakes are high. Hopefully the Jays can get out of this, send this to extra innings, and somebody hopefully can make a play. Got to win these games. You know what? You got to beat. You beat Baltimore 2 straight. Now you've got to take 2 or 3 from Oakland now, right? You don't have to sweep them, but you got to take 2 or 3 and get some momentum going. They need this win tonight.
This is it, Gabe. These are the games that when you look back at the Blue Jays season, so many times when they fall short, it's games like this, losing to Oakland, losing to bad teams and stuff. You got to find a way to win this game. Surprised they only scored 1 run in this game, but you're right. We're tied right now. We'll see what happens. We got to make sure the relievers who come in do their jobs, and we need some offense. You got to find a way to get it done. You're a better team than Oakland, and that'd be great for your series bet, and maybe we can get some momentum going. This team needs to win these games. I agree 100%.
There's certain games. The Blue Jays are in a different situation than the Dodgers are. But when you're in a season, like earlier in the week, bettors get mad. I can't believe the Dodgers lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates. They lost 2 or 3 to the Pirates. And if you're the Dodgers, what do you think you would rather win? Like if you sweep the Pirates and then you go into Yankee Stadium and get swept or lose to the Yankees, people are going to say, oh, you can't beat good teams. You only beat Pittsburgh. It's more important. Those games didn't matter. These games, and Dave Roberts admitted it. I love Dave Roberts' honesty when they asked him, is this game, does this game mean more? And he said, yes. He said, yeah. He goes, it's the Dodgers. And he goes, if you don't feel that it means more, you shouldn't be here type of thing. Are you kidding me? I looked up. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Well,
walk off Oakland?
Yeah, Oakland just won the game.
These guys are too much, man. Right when you start to get momentum, that's the whole thing. The Blue Jays draw you in, and you start to think, this is going to be. I know it's the first game of the series. You can win the next 2, Gabe, but this is what I'm talking about. Like you split with Baltimore after playing like junk, and then you go into Oakland and you lose to the A's. It's just the way it's been going on for a long time, for years.
Yeah,
it's
but
unacceptable.
Yeah, but I don't. You know what? If you're the Jays, it's about winning the series. So it sucks you lost the first game. The goal is to win 2 of the 3, right? It's disappointing that the pitching was so good tonight that somebody couldn't step up late. But this is baseball now, man. People get mad at lineups. The Los Angeles Dodgers had 5 hits tonight going into extra innings. They couldn't score, right? And people thought, they're going to light up this pitcher tonight. The Dodgers close is like minus 165 favorites. They couldn't score. And there's been a common theme. Even the Dodgers, all week, they couldn't score against Pittsburgh. They couldn't score tonight. They scored 2 runs in extra innings only. But it's disappointing because the last at-bats here that the Blue Jays had were Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette. So you would hope that one of them would just say, all right, you know what? I'm going to win the game right now. Oakland does. Both teams have 5 hits, 2-1. Seems to be a common pattern with Major League Baseball now. Whoever hits more home runs, 2-1, 3-2 final game. Teams have 4 or 5 hits now. The league batting average is 240. That's the baseball. Sports are changing before our eyes, not always for the best. But tomorrow, the Dodgers and Yankees go at it again. Gavin Stone on the hill for the Dodgers, plus 105 against Cortez, minus 125. Total is 8.5. And the Toronto Blue Jays have Gossman on the hill. Here's the spot, Cam. Gossman got lit up against the Baltimore Orioles. there was a weird stat with him about how the Jays had lost 10 of their last 12 games with Gausman on the hill against division opponents. But the Jays have kind of sucked against division opponents. But this is a spot where Gausman needs to bounce back tomorrow. You got an afternoon game in Oakland. Blue Jays are minus 160 favorites right now.
I don't think that's even too crazy of a price. And I'll tell you this, Gabe, what does Gausman get ripped? By a team like the Baltimore Orioles, who's one of the best hitting teams in baseball, if not the. All they do is crush everybody. So if you can't win with Gausman, you got to give him some damn run support, because I expect Oakland not to get more than a couple runs off Gausman. If they do, I'll be surprised. So it's up to these bats to show up for the Jays tomorrow. I think it's reasonable. Got to win this game.
The Stanley Cup Finals, of course, start tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. The total is 5.5 for this game. Lou was with us earlier, and the Panthers have been a pretty rock-solid under team. They're hard to score on. They're not explosive offensively. You know, against the Rangers, we saw, I think one game got away from them, and maybe another one went over, but it was an under series. The Panthers have been a big under team. But I kind of do agree with Lou. The games that can get away from teams is that game one, right? It's a new style. It's a new team that you're seeing. Kachuk even said, he admitted, he said, we don't really know this team. He said, we played them, around Christmas time, but that doesn't mean anything. And he goes, it's an adjustment all the time. I'm not in love with the under tomorrow. I'm not betting the over, but it wouldn't surprise me if it opened up a bit tomorrow.
Playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game time decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live, all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
3-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anybody remembers that famous chip in that Tiger Woods hit at 14, long and left after he tried to go for the full flop, leaves it short, then chips in for par, goes on and wins. That you can't miss left there. And it's all you're hitting off the tee is a full iron. You're hitting full iron into the fairway, and you're hitting a 138-yard fade pitching wedge. And you can either hit it on top of a minivan or you can't.
Only on SportsGrid.
The Pirates beat the Twins tonight. Keller's 6-0 in his last 6 starts with like a 1.13 ERA. He's been on fire. That was a bad pick by me taking the Minnesota Twins tonight. The Blue Jays just lost 2-1 to the Oakland A's. Oakland walked it off with a home run. Current baseball scores right now. San Diego are up 5-3 on Zona in the top of the 7th. Zona's got a runner on first. And the Astros are rolling the Angels. So Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow. Starts game 1. I like the Edmonton Oilers to win the series. I said they're going to win the series in 6 games. It's like plus 460. If I believe that, then they damn well better win these games on the road, or at least one of them on the road here. And I think they will. I think the Oilers are going to split in Florida. And does it happen tomorrow? Does it happen on Monday? How does it play out? We'll find out. I felt the same way about Dallas. So give me the Edmonton Oilers. Let me get the exact number here in 6 games for the Oilers. But I'm taking the Oilers to win the series. Oilers in 6. And truth be told, there's no way in hell. Thank you very much, guys. So Oilers to win 4-2 plus 460. I'm taking Connor McDavid to be the Conn Smythe Trophy winner at plus 200. And give me the Edmonton Oilers in Game 1 as well. Cam, what do you have tomorrow night for Game 1?
I like Florida, Gabe. I like them in the series to win in 6 at plus 490. We're on different sides right there. But if Edmonton's going to get them, I would not be shocked if a split. But I'm going to be riding Florida in the series, so I'll take them in Game 1. Tennis, 9 a.m. tomorrow. It's Swiatek versus Paoli, the very strong Italian. I'm going to bet on the spread, Gabe, at minus 6.5 at minus 120. She's minus 1,500 to win, Swiatek. She's not going to lose. She's not going to lose. The question is she going to win? I think she wins like 6-2, 6-2, and covers the number. It's going to be an absolute drubbing. She's too damn good.
And we've got UFL football and CFL football tomorrow over the weekend as well. Let's start off in the United Football League. It's down to the Final 4. The Birmingham Stallions looking for their 3rd consecutive championship, which would be super impressive. They're 5-point favorites right now over the Michigan Panthers. Michigan are a scrappy football team, but their best player is their field goal kicker. And they rack up like 4 or 5 field goals a game. They get a touchdown here or there. They do have a pretty good defense, but Birmingham are tough to beat, man. Right? There's, they're like really, they've lost 1 game all year. They're the 2-time defending champions. Give me the Birmingham Stallions tomorrow. We'll lay the 5. I don't love 5, but if they're going to win, they're probably going to cover. Let's go Birmingham over Michigan minus 5. And I think the total of 43 might be a little light, actually. I think it'll just creep over the number. On Sunday, San Antonio and the St. Louis Battlehawks. This is a tough game, this game. San Antonio are a really easy team to cheer for, with Wade Phillips having a great time on the sidelines. They've been a scrappy dog all year long, this team. But St. Louis have a legitimate home field. They're crazy about this team in St. Louis. There's going to be a bunch of wackos there. I think the Battlehawks will find a way to win a really close one. Let's go with the Battlehawks on the money line. CFL football. We just saw some points tonight in this game, which somewhat surprised me. But Hamilton's defense was just freaking terrible. We got the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Edmonton Elks tomorrow. The Elks are 1-point favorites. I think the Roughriders are going to win the game. And I'm not in love with the over 46, but I think it'll probably get there. And on Sunday, I do think there'll be points put up on the board. Look for BC to beat the Argos like 30-20 or something like that. I think BC win, BC cover, and the game goes over the number. Cam, any CFL picks for you?
No, I think that game, Gabe, I like the under in the game tomorrow, and I don't really have a preference to the side in that game. I know Saskatchewan's a hot team, but I'm just going to be betting the under in that game.
And it's the Canadian Grand Prix this weekend as well. And it's rare that you're getting Max Verstappen at this price, but it's almost becoming the new norm. People complained, Formula One, it's always Max Verstappen. It's the same guy that wins all the time. Well, not anymore. Red Bull have been exposed a little bit since they lost their head technician and engineer, and it's catching up to them a little bit. Verstappen is minus 138 right now to win the Canadian Grand Prix. I don't think it looks great for him right now because of what happened today with the car, but I'm going to ride or die with Max here. Give me Max Verstappen minus 138 to win the Canadian Grand Prix again. Great job by Preston filling in for Tommy tonight. Other than that, you're on your own. Later.